sometimes. So, there are various things you can do to work that out. And I feel like those were the biggest areas of development. Yeah. What's more important for a beginner, having a good idea to work on or finishing a game even if it's not very good? Finishing a game even if it's not very good, because if you don't develop that skill, then it doesn't matter how good of an idea you have. You won't be able to make it, because making games is hard. So get good at making games. Someone's asking, do I think that a person should go to college, then go into indie game development in debt, or should someone just go into indie games development and learn programming by yourself? Okay, here's the thing. I knew how to program in some sense before I went to college. Like, I could program in BASIC and in assembly language on home computers at the time, like the Commodore 64 and TRS-80 and whatever. However, when I went to college for computer science, sort of the first 2 or 3 years of that was very important in terms of communicating to me what computer science really is and how to program better. Like, I'm a better programmer because of what I learned there. Now, maybe I could have learned that stuff some other way. It would have been difficult back then because we didn't have the internet, but you have the internet now. So if you really want to learn computer science on the internet, I'm pretty sure you could. Now, back when I went to college, I went to a very good computer science school, University of California at Berkeley. The tuition cost my first year at school, you will not believe this, California in-state tuition in 1989, which was my first year of college, was $800 a semester, which I kind of couldn't quite afford, but I scraped money together and got a little bit of a student loan, I think. Maybe later. By the time I left, like, fees were already going up. So by the time I left, it was like $2,000 something a semester. But that's still nothing compared to college costs today. Of course, you have to inflation adjust those amounts for them to make sense today. Maybe multiply them by 2 or something. But still, it was pretty damn cheap to go to school, a really good school back then, compared to today. And I don't think schools are any better today. I think they're just a lot more expensive. Now, I feel like if we'd had the internet back then, maybe I would have been better off not going to college, because it did slow me down in a lot of ways, and I was kind of miserable at school. So today, I don't think I would recommend going to school necessarily. That said, I did go to school, right? So it's a little bit weird. But it's just so expensive, and there's so many other ways to learn things that I'm not sure it's a good choice. But I mean, maybe you're going to be worried about getting a job of some kind, and you think a degree on paper will be good. I don't know. I don't have a degree on paper. Yeah, someone's saying $800 in 1989, inflation adjusted, is $1,400 in 2017. Just still, my impression is that's pretty cheap. Let me see. University of California at Berkeley, 2017 tuition fees. $14,000! It's 10 times as expensive after adjusting for inflation to go to that school. Although, let me see if that's in-state versus out-of-state. or do they not have that difference anymore? I guess they don't. They don't have that. $34,000 total cost of attendance. That's insane. Oh, by the way, do you know how much my rent was? Okay, so tuition was $800 a semester. My rent, I shared a room in a 3-bedroom apartment with a friend of mine from high school who was going to the same college. I paid $140 a month in rent in Berkeley, which is crazy compared to today. It was so much cheaper to go to college back then. Oh my God. So I don't know how you guys put up with it. It's not like you get a 10 times better education. I don't think you get a 1.1 times better education. In fact, I think education is worse now in some ways. So, yeah. Oh my God. Someone's asking, why do I have a second setup in the background? This is, I'm not sure what you can see. Let me see. This is the office in San Francisco. So other people work here during the weekdays, and you may see their things. Oh, Abner's here. Hey, man. Guys, 14,000 per semester is insane. I would not have been able to afford going to school. I mean, I guess you get a loan for all that. I guess that's the point, but oh my God. I would have to say don't do it. I would say if you're a smart and industrious person, because here's the thing. You'll learn some really important stuff in school, especially if you get a real degree like computer science. But you'll also learn things that hold you back. There's plenty of bad teaching as well as good teaching, and you don't know the difference because the whole point of going to school is you don't know the difference yet because you're trying to learn, right? So you get guided in some good directions and some bad directions, and for that much money, right? 14,000 times 8 is over $100,000. That's crazy, guys. I don't know. I would, if you want to do indie game development, I would learn on the internet, in my opinion. I am still generally living in Seattle, but I'm in San Francisco right now today. This is the San Francisco office. Yeah. Let's see what Worcester charges. And Worcester's on a trimester system, right? Oh, is this per year? So that includes, wait, it's the same if you commute? What? Oh, this is just tuition, okay. Health fee. Wait, you got to count all the fees. Yeah, okay. 48,000. That's per year. That sounds pretty high. That's ridiculous. And let me tell you, there's some good classes at Worcester, but I also sat in on some classes years ago now, so they might be different, but I was really not impressed with some of the classes I saw. So $40,000 or $48,000 a year, you're getting a mixture of good education and bad education, right? And again, you can try to know the difference, but the whole point is you're a student and you don't know that. If you did know the difference, you wouldn't have to pay them $50,000 to teach you. So Someone is asking my opinion on the new Unreal Tournament development model. I don't really know much about what they're doing. I'm not following it. I've just been too busy programming and stuff, so I don't have an opinion. I did have a good holiday. Thank you, everybody who's been asking. I had about 2 weeks when I hardly programmed at all. It was great. Yeah, there are, someone said this in chat, and I agree, there are some really great insights in computer science, and there's some, you should be aware of computer science broadly. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I think you could do it, you could learn that online now without paying crazy amounts of money per year. Again, it sort of depends on your personality type, though, right? You have to be the type of person who really wants to learn and really wants to filter out all the junk information on the internet and who really apply themselves, right? But you have to really apply yourself to make a game, too, right? It takes a tremendous amount of programming to make a game. So if you can do that, you can apply yourself to learn. So, yeah. Like I said, though, I'm glad that I went to college at the time because I learned some things that I may not have learned for a long time otherwise. But it bummed me out. It depressed me being there, and I never got a degree anyway. So someone's asking, did I get exposure to Metal at the Witness OS export? No, because some of the other programmers on the team did the Metal port. I stayed off that because I've been doing other stuff like this other game and the programming language. Do I think a degree in video game developing could be possible in the future? Some schools basically have degrees in video games now, right? So for example, Champlain College has a major in video game design. They're not the only place, and this is not a recommendation. I've been there and I know that they have this, right? Who else? Like NYU has a video game program, right? Right, so you can get a bachelor's or a master's in game design at NYU. Again, that's not necessarily a recommendation, although I know more about NYU. I know some people who teach there are good, some I don't know, right? Who else? Georgia Tech has some stuff. UCLA has stuff. So there's real schools in the US. Oh, Santa Cruz has stuff, right? I was just down in Santa Cruz yesterday. So you can get degrees in game design that are officially accredited things now, which is crazy. Dude, back when I was in college, there was no such thing. You could barely get a graphics class, right? Much less anything else in games. That said, I don't know if I recommend any of these degrees, right? Game design is kind of intangible, and anytime something's intangible, it's hard to have quality control over the teaching of it, right? Like teaching more basic programming concepts, like a strict computer science degree, I feel like is easier to quality control. And even so, many schools do not do that great of a job at it, right? So I'm not saying get one of these degrees. someone was asking about it, and I thought I'd point out that now there are quite a number of schools who offer actual degrees in various aspects of making video games. Someone says, has Berkeley given me an honorary degree? No. As far as I understand it, honorary degrees are like a weird marketing thing usually about using the fame of a person to get notice for the university, and nobody actually really respects them. Like, everybody kind of knows that honorary degrees are bullshit. So I wouldn't even, I'm not sure how I would feel about being offered one if that were to happen. But I don't think I'm on the radar of any place like that anyway. I don't know. I think there are rare occasions of honorary degrees being granted that really are respected and deserved, but for the most part, I feel like it's a publicity racket. Someone's asking, why did I move to Seattle? Because I like to freeze my butt off in a miserable place. No, the real reason is because I have friends there and because taxes in California are way too high for somebody who's sole owner of a game company. And state income tax in Seattle is 0, which is a lot lower than California's 13.3%. So if you just look at how much money California was charging me to live here every day, it's too much. That's all. But Seattle has a lot of cool stuff. Someone is asking, would you say something soon, like next year, about Game 3? Game 3 is not going to be the third game to come out. The third game to come out is probably going to be the thing that I'll be working on in a minute when we start programming. So Game 3, you could revise the number to be more like Game 4 or something. And so we probably won't say much about it because, like, pre-announcing a video game way before it's going to come out is just, you know, why do that? I mean, I definitely think it's a good idea to tell people about a game before it comes out, maybe a year before it comes out even, but since Game 3 is not going to be actually the third release game, it's more than a year away by a substantial amount, so have I heard of the University of Utah's EAE computer science degree? No. Let's take a look at what that is. BS with entertainment, arts, and engineering. Yeah, sure. Did I ever find an animator for the next project? Well, we had an animator for a while, and that person has now moved on to a different project, so we're looking for an animator again. What was my degree in English literature like? I didn't go too far in it, but, you know, it's a college degree where you take classes about literature. I mean, it's kind of what you would expect. Talk about what things mean. Okay. Let's start talking about programming. So, compile, run. So I've got this editor where I can select a bunch of guys. This is sort of a duplicate of the witness editor. Anyway, so this is